This is Elisa Brown from the Sierra Nevada Conservancy. You've just received an invitation to engage in a capacity self-assessment for your partnership or collaborative. This assessment will help us utilize our third round of regional forest and fire capacity funding most effectively to benefit our region. We sent you this invitation because you and your partners are working on large-scale forest health and fire protection projects in your area. And we believe that your efforts could be assisted by capacity building and project development funding. Please be clear that this invitation is only an indication of interest. The SNC makes no funding commitment at this time. You can find more information about the RFFCP Round 3 funding goals and the assessment process in the overview and instructions document that was attached to your invitation email. The purpose of this presentation is to tell you a little more about the process for determining Round 3 RFFCP subgrants. Slide 2, Process Flow. This slide gives you the overall decision-making process for RFFCP Round 3. As we note in the email, the specific goal the SNC is trying to achieve with the funding is to advance capacity throughout the SNC region to scale up forest and fire project planning and implementation, so as to maximize the impact on healthy forests and community resilience. In this process, we have relied heavily on the knowledge and experience of the SNC area representatives. Our first step was to reflect on past RFFCP investments and ask the area representatives about the forest and fire planning in their subregions. We wanted to make sure that we understood all of the efforts going on in the subregion and where it was important to build capacity. Together, we identified the partnerships and collaborations that would be invited to participate in the next step, capacity assessments. The capacity assessment step is twofold. First, the Partnership and Community Support Team is working with your SNC area representative to do an external assessment of your capacity, identifying areas where the additional resources could help build the effectiveness of your partnerships and your implementing organizations. Second, you and your partners are being asked to do an internal assessment of your capacity. More information on how to do this can be found in the overview and introduction document attached to this email. When both these assessments are complete, we will have a meeting with your assessment team, your area representative, and the Partnerships and Community Support Team. We'll discuss the assessments and come to an initial agreement about the proposed capacity building activities that might be funded with an RFFCP Round 3 subgrant. The Partnerships and Community Support Team will compile all these recommendations and provide them to SNC management for initial approval. We will then invite those approved by the management team to submit short proposals for our RFFCP Round 3 Directed Grants program with a specific scope of work, budget, and deliverables. These proposals will be reviewed by staff and final recommendations will be made for management approval. Once the final decision has been made, we will go through the grant agreement process. We hope that grant agreements will be completed in early 2024. It is important to note that in addition to this directed grants program, the RFFCP Round 3 funding will also be used to provide capacity building workshops and one-on-one assistance via a capacity building technical assistance program, open for all of the organizations and tribes working on forest and fire issues in the SNC region. In addition, we are designing a specific tribal capacity building program, which we'll let you know more about in the future. Slide 3, the SubGrantee Selection Process. This slide reiterates the process for selecting RFFCP Round 3 subgrantees. First, the SNC staff will do an assessment of your capacity based on our experience with your collaboration, partnerships, and organizations. Then you will do your own internal assessment of your capacity needs. There are more details on how to do this in the overview and instruction document attached to your email and in the assessment instruments themselves. Your internal assessment team will meet with the SNC staff, and together we will discuss a scope of work that we all agree will be helpful in building essential capacity areas. This discussion will be the basis of our directed grants program. Those selected will be invited to submit a proposal with a specific scope of work, budget, and deliverables. After the appropriate reviews and approval process, we will enter into grant agreements with our final subgrantees. Slide 4. More detail on the internal assessment process. Here's a little more detail on the internal assessment which we are asking you to do. First, decide which assessment instrument to use. We've attached 2 instruments, one for larger landscape-level collaboratives and one for smaller partnerships, such as groups that are working to design or implement a community wildfire protection plan. If you feel that your partnership is in between these scales and don't know which one to use, don't worry too much about it. The assessment instruments are very similar. Just read them both and choose the one that seems to best fit your situation. Then, select a small team to work on the assessment. We suggest that you include representatives from the various types of agencies, organizations, tribes, and other stakeholders involved in your partnership or collaborative. Choose the people who do not always agree. The goal is not to look good. It is to identify areas where your partnership, collaboration, or implementing organizations can improve. You can take 2 to 4 weeks to complete the assessment. Note that you do not have to return this assessment in writing. Just take notes for our debrief discussion, which we'll schedule in mid or late September. In addition to the capacity assessment, in the near future, we will also be sending you a project development questionnaire. The purpose of this instrument is to identify potential investment opportunities for RFFCP funding in project pipeline development. This funding is meant to advance a robust project pipeline for your area. In our experience, the concept and design phases of project development and implementation, including important collaborative aspects, are areas where the grant funding is less available. So our investments will mostly be targeted to those phases. It is also the case that cost for completing these phases is relatively low, which will give us the opportunity to spread the impact of our funding. However, there is some flexibility, and we are open to supporting other project phases, which would advance your project pipeline if the funding need is modest. We will send you a separate email soon about scheduling your debrief discussion. We understand that this assessment process is new, and we expect that questions might arise among your partners regarding the program and the information we've requested. Please feel free to get in touch with SNC's Partnership and Community Support Team for further clarification. You've been assigned a team member as your primary contact for any assistance needed. You can find their name and contact information at the bottom of your email. We look forward to working with you on this exciting program.